If you try this on your resume today, tomorrow you definitely cover. Hi guys, building a resume and a CV has a level of technicalities to them. This is something you need to know. But for so many people, they often find it difficult to make a clear distinctions between what makes a resume different from a CV and vice versa. And when they go ahead to make an application, what happens? They often get the application rejected because this is the document that takes about 60 to 70% of your application success. Imagine you've actually done it wrong from the beginning. You stand no chances of success in the long run. I'm actually making this video given a personal experience with one of my trainees during a session. And who told me she actually paid a resume writer, a professional, to write a resume for her. And this is even a kind of resume that doesn't even have a reference section. I checked through, then I felt like this isn't resume enough if that is actually the right word to use. So literally, I feel there are a number of people out there that are actually looking for this kind of opportunity to be able to sit down on their own and pen their resume by themselves instead of paying it to somebody that's just going to take the money. And I believe on this note, we can actually get started. So let's begin. The very first thing we're going to talk about is actually what makes the distinction between the resume and the CV. This is something I've always been saying for a very long time, and I don't really want to do it too long on it. So the resume, it is a document for application that is used at the industry level for job application. Why the CV, as it is, we call it CV because it is a Latin word that means curriculum vitae, so which means a life summary. It is a CV because it is meant to be a comprehensive document and it is used in the academic content. Comprehensive because it includes every details about your life summary. Always think about that fact. Okay, your contact section, your academic sections, your research courses you took at the university, the details, the internal awards you got at the universities and some other things, work experiences, internship, and you really want to talk about certifications, awards and honors, things about your community services, your voluntary services, your associations, and other details about things that can actually make you stand out from the crowd. Okay, now when it comes to a resume, it is meant to be a summary of your CV. The resume, as it is, has a page cap, which is 2 pages. You can't exceed 2 pages, no matter how vast your experience is actually. So your resume should be 2 pages, okay? Then it is meant to be a selection of specific roles that are applicable or that are relevant to the job you are applying to. Assuming you have a collection of experiences ranging from, house management, store management, teaching, you are into content writing, you are into product marketing, you are into graphics. So then if you want to apply to a job in content writing, so to say, you understand, then you're just going to make a selection of experiences that are actually that are applicable to that role alone, leaving out the rest of your experiences because they don't have anything to do with it. They are inconsequential one way or the other. So that is what makes the difference. So without really dwelling too long on it. So because we will definitely be talking about resume in this video, so we are going to be leaving out the CV entirely. Obviously, I've actually done a comprehensive tutorial on the CV, which you can actually watch up here. Okay, you can click the cards above, then it's going to take you down there. So we are focusing more on resume here, and essentially, I'll walk you through what really matters, what counts and what doesn't count, what you need to retain and what you need to remove from your resume, because this is what so many people don't even know, and that's actually causing them the damages that are happening with regards to the application. I'm going to be dividing this section into two for proper comprehension. The first part is what we call technical format of the resume, and the second part is going to be the resume format, the content. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the technical formats. We're going to be talking about, next after that, we're going to be talking about the resume format, which is going to be the core content of the resume. For the very first one, under the technical format, is actually going to be about the types of the format of the resume. Then the second one is going to be about chronology. The third one is going to be about the do's and don'ts of the resume. Okay, now let's talk about the very first one. We have three types of the format of the resume. The first one is what we call reversed chronology. Okay, the second one is what we call skill-based format. And the third but not the least is what we call combo formats. Okay, so for the reverse chronology, this is actually the kind of resume that are designed for someone with no or little experiences. For instance, like a new graduate who doesn't really have much experience, in stock, other than the fact that you have maybe for internship or some other things like that you've actually taken before graduation. In this kind of resume, the framework is this. You're going to be looking at, okay, you can see this one right. Immediately after your contact address, maybe if you like, you can actually put your profile summary as well. Then after that, the next thing that's going to come is supposed to be your work experience. But because you are just a new graduate, what you're going to have there is going to be education. So essentially, this is for a new graduate, okay? Then the second one, which is supposed to be a skill-based format. So this is often used by people with a number of years of experience, okay? And the essence of this is because you actually wanted to position yourself as someone with qualified skills relevant to a certain job position, okay? Immediately after your profile summary, the next thing that comes is going to be your skills, okay? Your core skills as relevant to that position. Is that okay? Then after that, you're going to have your work experiences. Then after work experiences, then you'll be talking about your education, because that is not the priority at this point. Your job position, the roles you've taken that are relevant to that position, and the skills are the most important at this point. So the last but not the least is actually the combo. The combo is actually meant for professionals, like I said, who have more 7 to 10 years of experiences. Essentially, this is for grounding, to prove that, okay, I have what it takes when it comes to this particular job. I can definitely do better, and I'm the best fit, given my years of experience and the relevant skills that I actually have in stock. So three types of resume format is actually all about: the reversed chronology, the skill-based format, and the combo format. So which one of these formats do you use currently? I really want to know. But if it seems you don't even appeal to any of the three, you should know you aren't doing it right. And the word chronology, it actually means the study of time. Okay, the study of time. Then in resume, what does study of time have to do there? The chronology, in a nutshell, is to measure the appearance of events on your resume. So for instance, the job experience you had in 2021, maybe you started working in 2021 till date, okay? So the job experience you had in 2021 has to be the first one to come from below. Then the next one in 2022 will be above it. The next one in 2023 will be at the top. The next one, 2024, then it keeps coming that way in that hierarchy. But I've actually seen people with some kind of strange arrangement, having some kind of 2012 above, 2020 something in the middle, looking so scattered like that shows you aren't really diligent about what you are doing, and you don't even know how to position yourself right. So that's going to be the second one. Then the third one is going to be for do's and don'ts of a resume. It's going to come last by the time we talk about the contents, so that you can understand literally what you're supposed to do and know what to do. Now, the resume format. So the very first thing on the list, we have the contact information. Okay, then what are you supposed to have in contact information? So this literally refers to information about you: your name, which is going to be only your first and last name. Your first name is your real name, okay? I am Afiz. Then I have a middle name, Toby, and my last name, Aziz. Your last name is your surname, okay? So it's going to be just your first name and your last name, Afiz, Aziz. So that's the arrangement, okay? No confusion about it, just two names, nothing else. So then we have the next one, which is actually going to be your home address. So your home address, say, one thing I'm going to say about this is that there's no straight jacket so how you can actually arrange your resume. You should get that right, okay? There are different formats out there, but it includes all the details I'm going to be sharing with you here right now. So the first one, you have your contact address. The next one, you have your email. And don't forget, your email has to be formal. There's nothing like ademi@gmail.com or myquickresponse@gmail.com. So those are red flags that you must not cross. So use emails that actually contains your name, and that's going to be enough. Then after the email, then you're going to have the next one, which is your phone number. Then after that, you have your profile, your portfolio profile. Either you use your LinkedIn portfolio profile or you use your website portfolio profile. Either of the two, or platforms like Behance, Contently, Famous, and some other ones. So they will go a long way in a nutshell. So that is about your contact. Then let's talk about the next one. So the next thing is your profile summary. The profile summary for some people is not needed. Then for some, it's actually useful. So it depends on you. If you really want it there, you should have something between 3 to 5 lines max, and that's just going to be great. Especially for somebody that has 3 and above years of experiences. So you want to mention things about things that actually make you look so classy. Okay, so that is where the profile summary is going to come in. Now, let's assume that you are not actually a fresh graduate. So this kind of the kind of resume that you're supposed to be pushing for job is what I'm going to be telling you right now. Okay, stop using the reversed chronology if that is what you've actually been using for ages. Start using the skill-based format. Okay, and that's what I'm going to show you. And this is what actually worked for me, and it actually works for some other people as well. So the skill-based format, the next thing that comes under after your profile summary should be your skills. This is going to be the makeup of your hard skills and soft skills. So what makes the difference between hard skills and soft skills? Hard skills are skills that you acquire through what? Through trainings, and they can be executed in the course of work. For instance, your ability to use softwares, a certain software, is hard skills. But when it comes to soft skills, they are skills you learn through trainings, but then you internalize them. They become part and parcel of your character, your personality. Communication skills, problem solving skills, and some other ones, related to that. So that is the difference between the hard skills and soft skills. So in a nutshell, you got to be very observant. Look for the JD, the job descriptions, and look for the relevant skills that they're actually looking for. Pick them one after the other, add them to the numbers, the number of skills that you already have in stock, for ATS optimization. Okay, so that is how you actually go about it. And believe me, you will definitely rank for whatever ATS tool that you're going to be using eventually. So we have experience. So your work experience, I say professional experience, anyhow you like it. So under here, you are meant to put together relevant experiences. Okay, so, and that is what makes the resume different from, say, the CV. Okay, and in this wise, you're meant to unpick the relevant roles that you've actually taken that are close to the job you're applying to. Under here, like I told you the other time, you can have different format, different structure for this. Your role can come first, or the company can come first, and the way you just want it, the format can be different, obviously. So it is not limited to one structure. So the big question is, how do you make up the content of your bullet points? This section. On multiple occasions, I'll ask my clients, what do they do at their current position? They'll be like, now they have no idea or something, but it shouldn't be like that. I want you to understand that this section has a specific information that come around here. So then each time you are taking up a role, you should ask your employers what are the KPIs of this position, key performance indicators. Okay, so these are the measurable, the measurable goals upon which the company is actually measuring your performance. So those are the things you are meant to emphasize on whenever you are writing your resume. Because if you don't have a KPIs, there's no way you can actually identify what you do in that company. So more or less, you're just a backbencher. So in a nutshell, your KPIs is what you turn to your bullet points, literally, because they are what defines your qualities and this kind of services that you actually render to the company. So this is what you have to do really quickly. So the very first thing, you must ensure that you state impact over responsibilities. You don't say, I take part in so and so. That makes you to appear like a doer instead of an achiever. You want to state what you achieve in the course of working in that position. You're not going to be talking about the roles. You are not mentioning your responsibilities. So state impact instead of responsibilities. Okay, you can see in my own resume here. Do this within a number of 3 to 4 bullet points. Maximum, maybe you have 5 points. Okay, the second one, you should try as much as possible to avoid personal pronouns. It's very important as well. I, we, us, they are words that you should avoid in all capacity. Then also, you should try as much as possible to qualify with data. Use metrics that shows the percentage of your achievement. So you can actually see that here as well. That is going to be the last one under here. And this is what you repeat under your work experiences. So these are the things you do here, literally. The next one is going to be for your education. And literally, there's no big deal about the education section. So it's just for you to mention the name of your school, the course you take, your CGPA if it's something really worthwhile. You talk about it as well. So just enter them. And if you're writing a CV, you are meant to do it differently. I've already made a comprehensive explanation on how you can get that done. You can check it on my YouTube videos as well. You see how to convert your resume into an academic CV. So literally, you see the whole of the explanation there. You really want to talk about things, honors and your awards. Was there a time when you got rewarded? So this is just the arrangement. You have the name of the award, the company that actually gave it to you, or the association, then the year. And the same thing goes for the certification. So you just have it in this structure, the title of the certificate, the month and year. So that's all. So, and this certification section, you can have some other things in views, like trainings you are taking currently and you are yet to complete it. So you can have it in view. So this will show that you are still evolving, literally. So that is what it means. For those people that are into product marketing, I just came up with this initiative like, okay, if I actually wanted to help a company to market their product, yeah, they really want to know if I've actually done one before to supervise product and do some kind of strategy for it. So I put a separate section which I call SaaS product under my supervision, SaaS product management. Then I list the product that I've actually marketed at some point in time, as a content writer and content marketer as well. Then it's going to make me look more credible to my prospective clients in one way or the other. In a nutshell, you end your resume with reference section, which is going to be what? Available upon request. So that is it, and it's as simple as that. Now, if you're able to turn around your resume from the state that it has currently, you take it to the skill-based format. Trust me, you'll be doing yourself a great deal of help, because this is something so many people don't know. They don't even know they're meant to structure their resume in one way or the other. Now, let's go back to the do's and don'ts, because this is going to be what we're going to be wrapping up with. Literally, the do's and the don'ts of your CV. So let's start with the don'ts. There are people that put words like go getter or gold getter, either of the two. You don't need them. Think outside the box, and some other fanciful words like that. You don't need it. They are actually modern days. Then you have things like doing some kind of unnecessary design on your resume, it's not needed. You don't want to be lying in your resume. You don't want to be doing things that will just make it look so incredulous and some other things like that. So literally, these are some of the things you really want to pay attention to. Just look at them and digest. On the other hand, you actually wanted to put words like motivated, critical, and some other things, as you can actually see them in here. And as well, you need to get specific with action words. Don't just use words that will drag the result of what you actually do. Use action verbs that project your impact. These are the rest in a nutshell, so I'm not going to be reading them out one after the other to save time. So guys, so this is going to be the end of this video, and I really want to believe that if you try this on your resume today, tomorrow you definitely come back, appreciate me for the little effort that I've actually contributed. So at this point, I'm going to be coming up to the end of this video. And don't forget to like this video and comment, and definitely don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because this is what gives me the motivation to keep dropping the banger for you. Definitely. So see you around.